Hi, do you want to understand why people, including spiritual people and businesses, seem to operate at completely different levels of consciousness? Hi, my name is Ashadi Ramakrishna. I was trained as a molecular biologist turned modern priestess, and I am a perpetual business witch. And I want to help us all really balance feeling good, being wealthy, and giving back. I do hope that you subscribe to this channel so that you can be alerted for new videos that come out. Now, let's talk about these different levels of consciousness. Spiral dynamics, or integral theory, is a way of understanding, giving us context as to how and why do people operate in the way that they operate, right? Isn't it kind of like confusing sometimes? Why somebody that claims they are spiritual, or why someone claims that as though, they feel correct, or they feel like their intuition is bringing them to a certain place, but then you see someone who's claiming the same thing and they're just operating at completely different places. So one way of understanding it is looking at spiral dynamics or integral theory. Now, these were concepts that were originated or at least evolved with Ken Wilber, and those teachings were actually taken from integral Vedanta from Aurobindo. Aurobindo is a spiritual teacher from India. Now, let's talk about what this integral theory or spiral dynamics is. These are different levels of evolutionary consciousness that really explains how an individual evolves, how a group of people evolves, how a society evolves, and even how business evolves, how business operates. So there are 3 tiers within spiral dynamics of consciousness levels, but most of us are either operating in the first 2 tiers. So let's talk about tier 1. So tier 1 begins with what we'll call beige meme or beige consciousness level. This is a very survivalistic level. This is with all compassion, it's about the person who is a homeless person, like someone who's literally just surviving to get by. And you see this, you can also track this in human beings as to like when we're just surviving, as little babies, we are just surviving and having to rely on others to be able to be sustained. The next level of consciousness is purple meme, or we can call it magical thinking. It's where the concept of animism, if you're familiar with that, is like animism is where every living thing has its own spirit, and magical thinking is very much about like I can create magic out of everything, and sometimes it hasn't quite evolved to really see how logic can be incorporated. So maybe something that's like a little bit of purple meme is even the spirit of Christmas, right? Like when you see kids that really believe in this is a very much of that energy of like defies logic, defies everything, and it's very much about, ooh, there's a magic here, or like how fire is made and you don't know where it comes from. The next level is red. Red is very much about, it's egocentric. It's about taking care of the human, the one human at every cost, right? So you're still seeing like this is pretty basic, right? You can see some dictators as very red meme kind of energy, very much about the self, very much about taking care of their own self and nobody else. And then moving from there, we have blue meme. And blue consciousness level has to do with authoritarian. It has to do with, and I'm looking over here because I have notes over here, and blue is about authoritarian. It's about polarities. It's about right and wrong. Things such as the police force is very blue consciousness level. Religiosity is very much about blue. It's about order. There are laws, there are rules, and there's right and wrong. And then next is orange. Orange is very associated with logic, very associated with achievement, very much associated with even the scientific process, so utilizing the mind. And when you see blue consciousness level has to do with the whole, right? How do we keep the whole safe with these right and wrong rules, this binary way of living? And then orange starts saying, wait a second, I get that we have to be following certain rules and there are social norms to follow, but I need to achieve certain things in my life. And if I'm worried about what you all are doing and what we all need to be doing, then I'm not going to be able to achieve this. And so blue starts, or orange starts moving away from the whole and going back into the self. Next level is green. Green has to do with pluralistic. It has to do with the all. It has to do with everyone voices matters. It has to do with how we paying attention to the environment, paying attention to in spirituality, it can be that concept of we are one, right? And everyone voices matter. And it's beautiful, but maybe you've also been in meetings where everyone voices matter and nothing got done. And so green, sometimes because it has such an idealistic concept of everything, quite frankly, it can sometimes have a really hard time understanding that there is actually a next level. So it can be a little bit narcissistic, or it can be a little bit and there are different stages. Let me just say, there are different stages within these consciousness levels. And so early green, let's say in spirituality, can be somebody who just realized that, oh my gosh, my life is not just about my achievements. There's more to life. There is magic there's magic to be found. There is spirituality. I'm feeling a sense of peace because I've just found crystals or something. Or I just started meditating, or I just started doing yoga, and oh my gosh, it really feels as though my mind is cleared and I can really connect to my heart. Middle stage of green, sometimes it's more about, crystals aren't everything and yoga isn't everything. Meditation's great, but there's more to life. So what is that more? And sometimes we can see people in that middle area, especially spiritual folks, in the middle of green, start doing shadow work. So the beginning, maybe they're looking at light work, right? And they're connecting to love and light. And then middle green folks are thinking about shadow work and are thinking about, whoa, yes, we're all one, yes, love and light, but there's also me. And I have some healing to do. Like, this is where the rubber meets the road, and I'm going to have to do some deep, deep healing here. And believe it or not, there is something beyond shadow work. There is something beyond green consciousness level. And that beyond, we start getting a glimpse of it when we're done with the crystals, when we're done with the yoga, when meditation is amazing, but we realize it's not the end-all be-all. And then when we start doing the shadow work and doing the deep uncovering within, we also start seeing that, wait a second, this could be a ever-revolving door of issues that I have to be constantly looking at. Or the mirror paradigm, where you're constantly, these are all valid things, these are all beautiful things, but we hit a certain point where doing mirror work, where we're understanding that, oh, someone did something, I need to look at myself, and I don't necessarily have to talk to the other person, I just really need to look at myself. Totally valid work, but it also doesn't allow for a greater level of experiencing each other, including ourselves. And so that edge of the green consciousness level, really, when they get sick of all the all the cacao ceremonies or the sound baths, or you can't have enough crystals in your home, you start understanding that there's more. And it's hard to understand that there's more because there isn't a lot of people that are showing us more. So what happens is that we're really kind of knocking at the door of second tier. And second tier has a few different levels of it, and we're not going to go into it today, but basically what we want to understand is that second tier begins to incorporate all the different levels, because some of the conflict that we see within first tier, within the blue, the police, within the orange, Wall Street, within the green, maybe leftist liberals, if you will, is that we start seeing that there's a lot of conflict between them. And that's part of the evolutionary path, is that sometimes you have to defy and make wrong the place where people are before, or where you were before, in order to come into the new place. I'm not saying we have to do it this way, but it's kind of part of the way that we seem to work. And when you start moving into second tier, what happens is that we start integrating all the levels. We integrate all the levels and understand that magical thinking is important. Oh, ethics or blue, rules are kind of important. They're not the end all be all, but they're kind of important. Orange, where, yes, achieving things is important. If we're just, in kumbaya and holding hands, but we're not achieving or moving something forward, it's really hard to make progress in life, both personally and in society, right? And so we start seeing how we can incorporate all of these and how they're all valid. And it's a big leap. I will say that. It is a big leap for many of us to move from that late green into the level 2, which is about integrating all of it. And so I hope that this helps you understand, gives you context as to why some people act a certain way and others in a completely different way, and maybe also help you understand where to place yourself, where to place your loved ones, and also understanding what kind of communities you want to be a part of. So, if you want to know a little bit more about your own self, about your own soul archetype within the context of spiral dynamics, I really want to invite you and encourage you to access a free resource that I have at ashaisnow.com/Dharma. And that's DHARMA. And this is a free resource that gives you a sense of what is your soul, your Dharma archetype. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that this was helpful. Feel good, be wealthy, and give back.